ladies and gentlemen, to formally set the stage for the conversations ahead, it's my pleasure to invite someone who has closely tracked the intersection of policy, markets, and global affairs for years. So please welcome Dr. Nalin Mehta, Managing Editor, Moneycontrol, and Chief AI Officer, Editorial Operations, Network 18, for his welcome note to kick off the Global Wealth Summit 2026 with a big round of applause.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. When we launched Moneycontrol's Global Wealth Summit last year, the theme was the next phase of wealth creation. The question we asked was simple. Where will the next big opportunities come from in a market being reshaped by policy, new business models, and a new generation of investors? A year later, today, that question has become far more complex. War in the Gulf and Iran's pushback on the Strait of Hormuz has made the global environment far more unpredictable. Energy routes are being disrupted, supply chains are shifting, AI-led disruptions continue to reshape the business landscape, and geopolitical risk is reshaping global markets, national economies, and capital flows. So this year, our theme is the capital reset. What does all this flux mean for India, for investors, for the markets, capital flows, and for asset allocations? The IMF's latest update projects global growth at about 3.3% for 2026 and sees India growing at 7.3% for FY26. India's own latest projection just out last week is for about 7.6% growth, which is a strong signal of resilience. Yet, at a time when we are seeing the greatest oil supply disruptions since the 1970s, countries opening strategic energy reserves like never before, and the certainties of the past disappearing, the question for this summit today is sharper and more pertinent than ever. In a world of sudden shocks and fast-moving markets, what does smart wealth creation actually look like? That's what we are here to explore today, and I think it would be fair to say that we're living through a period where uncertainty is no longer an exception. It is the operating environment. Although history tells us that wealth has always been created in uncertain times, not in spite of them, but because of how investors respond to them. Now, India today, of course, sits at a fascinating intersection. Never before have Indian investors had so many opportunities, so many products, and so much access to capital markets. Wealth creation in India matters not just for Indians, but for the rest of the world. Just 10 years ago, we were the world's 10th largest economy. We are now the world's 4th largest, having doubled in size and on track to becoming the 3rd largest. Just 10 years ago, our equity market was the world's 10th largest. We are now the world's 4th or 5th largest by market cap, having quadrupled in size. Just 10 years ago, we were doing less than 100 IPOs in a year. Last year, India saw the highest IPOs in the world, about 370, and the 3rd highest IPO proceeds of any country globally at $22 billion, which was more than China last year. But more than the size, it is also the culture and nature of wealth creation itself in Bharat that is shifting at a breakneck speed. I think it's worth reminding ourselves this morning that India has over 21.6 crore or 216 million demat accounts. That's more than the populations of countries like Mexico, Russia, Japan, or the Philippines, compared to just about 22 million in 2014 for context. India's change is being driven also by a new generation of investors. Almost half of assets under management in mutual funds today are now outside of the big 5 cities, and about 1/5 are coming from outside of the top 30 Indian cities. So how do global investors negotiate these breathtaking shifts in Bharat? What are the opportunities and challenges of the Indian markets? What about new asset classes such as REITs and older ones like gold? What's the long-term view on India, and what should investors do? Above all, how do markets and investors navigate today's complex and volatile world where things change minute by minute and tweet by tweet, social post by social post? So at Moneycontrol, it is our business to track these questions on a daily basis. With over 50 million unique users a month and over 1 million paying subscribers, we are India's largest digital financial news platform and among the top 15 digital news platforms in the world. We are delighted to have brought together today a fantastic collection of global investment leaders, fund managers, titans of the industry, and thought leaders to deliberate on all these issues. Later today, we will have the SEBI chief, Tuveen Kanta Pandey, gracing this occasion with a keynote speech. The Gujarat Deputy Chief Minister Harsh Sanghvi will also be here to talk about his vision for growth and investments along with iconic investors from around the world. We couldn't ask for a more powerful set of movers and shakers to think through questions around wealth and growth in India. And I hope we find as many answers as their questions. Thank you very much for making the time, for coming to the Money Control Global Wealth Summit, and let's have a great day. Thank you.